Dearly beloved and deranged, we are gathered under the presence of a twilight sky to celebrate, quote-unquote, one of the most enduring love stories, annoyingly enduring love stories, ever to be put on paper. The paper anniversary of Twilight. Welcome to the Thrift Store Rundown, bringing Hollywood home on a budget and celebrating, quote-unquote, the 10th paper anniversary of the Twilight film series. That's right, believe it or not, it's been 10 years since this odd love story spread box offices across America and around the world and stolen the hearts of Twihards on a global scale. Of course, vampire heartthrobs are nothing new to the Hollywood vernacular, but I believe Bella and Edward and Jacob brought it into the stratosphere of the new millennium and into the dawn of the new decade. I am no Twihard, but I assure you know somebody who does. I know somebody who is a big Twihard, and you might have heard of her before, Linda Bucky from Ohio. That's right, my favorite Pretty Little Liars pal is also a very dedicated Twihard, and it is with her in mind that I bring this full circle. We've already done a Twilight series on this channel. We call it Twilight Savings Time. We've done reviews on the first 3 illustrated movie companion books based upon the first 3 movies by Mark Cotta Vaz, a dedicated author with 21 books to his credit about films and the filmmaking process. Most of them visual companions like the ones you see before you, all within the Twilight series. We have not done Breaking Dawn. And this is Breaking Dawn Part 1. By the way, there is no illustrated movie companion for Part 2, so this really is the final in his movie companion series for the Twilight saga. Catherine Hardwicke directed the original Twilight. Chris Weitz directed New Moon. You have David Slade who directed Eclipse, and Bill Condon taking on both parts in Breaking Dawn. I'm not going to dwell too much into this since it follows the standard formula for the first 3 books, covering every aspect there is to know about the filmmaking process. Art direction, set design, conceptual design, makeup and hair, location scouting, camera setup, visual effects played an important role here, especially during the wedding scene. Kristen Stewart suffered a hand injury early on during the shooting of that scene. Plus the first half of post-production. I was pleasantly satisfied with reading this book, as with the first 3 books, yet all of them fall short of mentioning the second half of post-production. I theorized that this book was completed before the second half of post-production was to begin. The editing, the cutting, the sound mixing, Foley art, and of course, the scoring. And about the scoring itself, Academy Award nominated and winning composers lent their talents to the music score. For the first Twilight film, it was Carter Burwell. Same thing with Breaking Dawn Part 1 and Part 2. Oscar nominee. I'm talking Carter, not the film itself. Alexandre Desplat for Chris Wright's New Moon. He is a 2-time Oscar-winning composer. Howard Shore, 3 Oscars and 3 Golden Globes for the Lord of the Rings trilogy, lending his talents to David Slade's Eclipse. I'm not going to say that Twilight is Oscar caliber itself, but you know what? It should not be doomed to a life of shame and spoofs either. It has something special going for it, even though I am not a Twihard. And there he is, the man responsible, Mark Cotta Vaz. You might have heard of him before, because outside of this saga, he also did a book on Alias called Alias Declassified. I happen to like Alias very much, and by the way, that's also one of our earlier videos. Of course, this is the only book within the movie companion series for the Twilight saga that has an exclusive Q&A with Stephenie Meyer, the woman responsible for the books in the first place. This has something for everyone. If you're interested about the filmmaking process, this saga is for you, Twihard or not. If you're interested about the importance of visual effects in a good film, Twihard or not, this is a good series to get you started into your VFX obsession. And speaking for a certain select segment of our audience, if you happen to like to see shirtless photos of Edward and Jacob and certain select members of the Volturi clan, well, I have it on good authority that you will just be begging your parents to buy you a copy of any of these movie companions. This was purchased for $4.99 at the thrift shop, and if you see here, it says $5. Not really that much of a difference, not like a penny. Of course, we add taxes to this, it doesn't really make a difference at all. But I got this for 50% off, $2.49, and that doesn't include tax, by the way, so that's the difference. All of these I bought for less than $5, and all of them I do not regret buying. Same goes for the Twilight board game and the Twilight New Moon board game, the Twilight Director's Notebook from Catherine Hardwicke, the woman who helmed the first film, the most commercially successful release for a female director, and the film that launched Summit Entertainment into the major motion picture studio status, and the Edward Cullen figurine. All of them were purchased from the thrift store. And let's not forget Destination Fox, the documentary about the locations of the first Twilight film with the invasion of the Twihards. So yes, we do have a bit of a Twilight obsession, but it's strictly business. I am linking the entire Twilight Savings Time series below in the description, and if you've ever wondered what Twilight would be like if it was 10 times faster and 1,000 times more honest, as Crack.com puts it, I am linking all of the abridged scripts for all the films from the editing room in the description below too. The editing room is one of my favorite comedy sites. It does abridged screenplays, brutally honest screenplays for films, good and bad, like the Twilight saga. And you'd be surprised to know how often Twilight pops up at my thrift store, unique in Patterson. Books, DVDs, and soundtracks. All that's missing is a dadgum computer game. Needless to say, Twilight has left a legacy, one that I begrudgingly nod my head to. So, on behalf of my Twilight pal, Linda Bucky, a happy 10th anniversary to the Twilight film series. Thank you all for watching. That's the Thrift Store Rundown, bringing Hollywood home on a budget, the best and worst of